We finally made it to Pikmin 4. It's been a 10-year wait, so Nintendo needed to do something to justify that time. Let's look at how this brand new game redefines the series and see if it's the right direction for the series moving forward. The core essence of Pikmin has always been a series about exploring a mysterious planet and collecting various types of items, whether it be ship parts, treasures, or fruits. But with Pikmin 4, they decided to essentially reimagine the whole franchise and start from scratch. Quite literally too. It's technically still speculative at this point, but it seems almost 100% clear that Pikmin 4 is in its own separate timeline from Pikmin 1, 2, and 3. The story of this game begins with Captain Olimar crashing the SS Dolphin onto PNF 404 for presumably the first time, and while recovering his ship parts, he encounters the space dog named Moss, the queen of hatred and prejudice. That's Moss. After a brief tutorial section where we explore the inside of a fully intact human house for the first time, Olimar recovers the interstellar radio ship part and sends an SOS signal. First of all, it's really cool that they're reusing existing lore elements as the basis for this game's story. We knew in Pikmin 1 that Olimar was constantly sending an SOS signal, but nothing ever came of it since he had so little time remaining on the planet. Olimar's signal is answered by the Rescue Corps, who also crash. Bro, these people drive worse than SpongeBob. And it's time to create a character. This is a fun addition to the game. I wish there was more customizability and some actual dialogue, but for what it's worth, I appreciate it. It does what it's supposed to do, give the player a self-insert character, and it's fine. During yet another tutorial section, we meet our own space dog, Ochi, along with two of the Rescue Corps members, Colin and Shepard. Ochi isn't rideable at this point, but that just means he's 200% more adorable. This section of the game really adds to the alien feeling of this planet. For a couple of minutes, we're just exploring and taking in our surroundings. And it's quite a few minutes before we even meet our first Pikmin. When we finally do, it's within Pikmin 4's brand new addition to the series, a hub area. This area starts out as a tutorial grounds for collecting treasure and the crash site of the SS Shepard, but later it becomes sprawling with all kinds of life. Throughout our adventures, we rescue lots of civilian castaways from 8+ planets, and of course they all congregate in this one area. These characters not only serve as the different menu functions we saw in previous games, but they also give out side quests and can give us endless insight into the lore of the Pikmin universe. In a way, it almost justifies this game's rebooting of the series. Sure, we got the addition of Kopai in Pikmin 3, but this takes world building to a whole new level. We went from knowing just about Hocotate, Kopai, and PNF 404 to a whole slew of planets all with different cultures and people. We got a Twitch streamer, a TV crew, an opera singer, store brand Pikmin 3 captains, even His Majesty, the King of Bugs is here. It's really a whole universe out there. The actual levels in this game are much more modern than in previous games. While the other games had fairly small areas by comparison, the areas here are significantly larger, and with way more personality to boot. They're so large in fact that there's now multiple landing sites to choose from, and you need to make use of these if you're going to have good Dandori. With proper execution, you can cut so much time needed to carry treasures and rescues back to base. It also encourages you to explore areas in a more fragmented fashion. It's like having areas within areas. Now I said the areas have more personality this time, and I gotta say I really like how connected they all feel. We first explore the Sun-Speckled Terrace, a home garden area. This area is not only our main tutorial area, introducing us to more caves as well as the new Dandori battles, but it's also our first foray into exploring this one property that encompasses all of the game's areas. As we progress through the game, we unlock more and more areas surrounding this one house. The Blossoming Arcadia is our second area, and it appears to be a cute little children's playground. We also have some sprinklers here as well as some children's toys to collect as treasures. Neat! The previous games focused on seasons for each level's design, but this time around they went more so for differences in architecture, which I enjoy. It characterizes the areas themselves and makes us ask questions about the lore. Clearly an outdoorsy family lived at this house. They gardened, played outside, had a beach nearby, even a campsite. The thing is though, what happened to the people that lived here? I hope the next game can answer that question. So as we pursue Olimar, we eventually end up in the hero's hideaway, and it's such a clever area. We explore a cave inside a stovetop, and the ice onion is literally in the freezer. Who could have seen that coming? And to top it all off, Olimar hid himself in a safe. You can tell the developers thought hard and really had fun when designing this area. At this point, I have to talk about the Dandori battles. These are essentially the mission and bingo battle modes from Pikmin 3 integrated into the main campaign, and they work great. They're not that difficult for the most part. I mean, they don't want to risk alienating their audience here, but I had a lot of fun with them. They're a nice change of pace from the normal, fairly laid-back gameplay of the overworld, and I love how weird the leaflings are. They really feel like your average Pikmin player. After 4 grueling battles against this mysterious red leafling with the dog, we capture him and discover that it was Olimar this whole time. Mission complete! Here we get one of my favorite moments from the game. The Rescue Corps leaves with Olimar, and as credits finish up, we're greeted with a menace. At this point in my playthrough, I assumed there'd be another area a la the Wistful Wild, but boy, I did not see this coming. So this is also a convenient opportunity to segue into the elephant in the room. Nostalgia baiting. This game loves to not so subtly call back to previous games, especially Pikmin 2. I mean, practically anything you can think of from that game, minus the mighty Chacho himself, is here. A lot of bosses return, like the Empress Bullblacks and Man-at-Legs. Even specific sub-levels are back, like this one that I'm sure we all know and love from the Dream Den. And we can't forget that the Engulf Castle is back. Okay, I can forgive this one. This is an awesome remake of the most iconic cave from Pikmin 2, and I'm all for it. They remade each sub-level perfectly, and it brought me right back to my childhood, and I can still hear the screams of Chukka Conroy today. For realsies though, while I enjoy the nostalgia and callbacks, I wish there was more unique content for us to find. It's not really a disappointment though, only a nitpick. For the rest of the story, we're tasked with rescuing all castaways, including him, in addition with curing Ochi so that we can finally leave this planet. Next up, we explore the Giant's Hearth. This is the aforementioned campsite, and it's here where the game starts to shake things up. Here we have to start some forest fires to clear pathways, which seems a little counterintuitive, but okay. I like this mechanic. It forces you to move quickly and plan exactly where you're going to move ahead of time. In addition, we see some old friends here. No, not them. Them. The Spotty Bullbears are back, and the authentic Emperor Bullblacks we know and love from Pikmin 1, now known as the Sovereign Bullblacks, is back as well. This area marks the start of this weird principle the game likes to follow with its difficulty. Instead of having new and unique enemies with tougher attack patterns and defenses, the game opts to take the existing enemies, but make them big. Kinda like the big Yoshi. While the game does get more challenging at this point, I still found it to be lacking in the difficulty department for the most part, at least in the main campaign. I feel like in Pikmin 2, the difficulty came mostly from how much the game would troll the player, and while they brought back the random bomb drops and other trolls in this game, it doesn't quite meet the mark of Pikmin 2, and I don't blame Nintendo for that. In my opinion, I think the series losing its challenge with Pikmin 3 and 4 is mostly because of how they modernized the gameplay experience and removed all the jank from the previous entries. Of course, they did change the aiming system in 4 to make it virtually impossible to miss throws, and the ice Pikmin are pretty broken. Oh, and I almost forgot, Ochi. I love this little guy, but he needs a nerf. In my playthrough, I found no reason to avoid spamming Ochi's charge attack repeatedly when battling enemies. The problem with this attack is that it's just too powerful. With a full squad of Pikmin, you can annihilate basically any enemy in a matter of seconds. It's a fun party trick, but I don't like how easy it is to abuse. There's also the 3 Pikmin limit. This is a mechanic that I thought would make the game more difficult, but it honestly does the opposite. In every area, the game basically spells out to you what hazards you'll encounter while you're pulling Pikmin from the onion. While useful, this knowledge gives you little incentive to get creative and explore for yourself. In hindsight, I wish they only gave you Pikmin recommendations when entering caves. I think that use is more balanced. I fully stand by what I just said regarding the game's difficulty, but I don't want to rag on it too much. After all, there is a little something that I think makes up for it. The Trial of the Sage Leaf is unlocked post-completion of the Olimar Shipwreck side story, and it's only for the most committed of Dandori experts. The 10 stories here provide the most challenge this game has to offer, and I loved every second of it. While I know not everyone is a fan of a certain story, I think most of them provide a very fair challenge and engaging gameplay. And getting the white and purple onions as our reward is one of the coolest bonuses in the game. I was only able to get a bronze medal on most of the stories, but I'm excited to keep playing and platinum all of them someday, something I was never quite able to do in Pikmin 3's mission mode. Back to the campaign, we eventually unlock the final area, the Primordial Thicket. And with a name like that, there better be something straight out of Oraz in this place. You do not enter a place called the Primordial Thicket without expecting a creature from the beginning of time. This area is fantastic. It's the first area in the game that's just straight up nature, no human architecture to be seen. There's some old and new enemies around here too. The Puff Stool is back from Pikmin 1, and it's just as much of a pushover now as it was then. In addition, we have a brand new enemy, the Bog Swallow. I didn't find them too dangerous, but they're definitely scary when you first encounter one and it starts vacuuming your Pikmin out of nowhere. After rescuing the Copiot scientist Nell and the rest of the castaways, we head into one final cave, the Cavern for a King. What a great cave. There's a staggering 48 treasures to collect and 20 floors total, completely trumping anything Pikmin 2 had. It's actually quite challenging too with all the bosses we have to go through. I mean, the Smoky Prog, the Man-at-Legs, the Empress Bullblacks, the Sovereign Bullblacks, 2 water wraiths? Someday I gotta meet the developers and ask them, what was going on at home? They did not have to pull out all the stops like this, but they did an excellent job. At the bottom of the 20-floor gauntlet, we come face to face with Louie and the ancient Sirehound. This thing looks like it's straight out of a creepypasta, and its creepy lair isn't helping its case. Now, I respect that Nintendo fully committed to the bit with the dogs in this game, but it doesn't have the vibe of your typical Pikmin boss. It's too close to reality, I guess you could say, but I think that's what they were going for with this enemy. It is very cool though that it uses almost all of the elemental hazards, even exclusive ones like the same gloom that the Smoky Prog has. Maybe this is a hint that Pikmin takes place in the Tears of the Kingdom universe? Defeating the ancient Sirehound fittingly rewards you with its collar, and Louie as well. Ugh. So anyway, We heal Ochi, and we're free to leave. We're treated to one final cutscene of the SS Shepherd and SS Dolphin, if you completed Olimar Shipwreck, leaving the planet together. It's such a beautiful scene and perhaps my favorite ending cutscene in a Pikmin game. And just like that, there's nothing else to do, or is there? But we'll get to that in another video. So that's Pikmin 4. There's still a lot I want to say, but overall this was an immaculate game to play. I was there when Miyamoto confirmed it was almost done back in 2015, and I was just about ready to give up hope when the game was finally announced last year. I can't say if this is my favorite Pikmin game yet, because that'll take about 5 more playthroughs to figure out. But what I can say is that if this is the future of Pikmin, bring on the next one. And with that, I'll catch you later. Oh, wait. Can someone tell me who Fiddlebird is?